Good evening, happy Sunday, happy autumn. Cheers to the colder weather. Got the flannels on. So tonight, thought we'd have a little chat about connections within our sort of hammock and tarp systems. Now, traditionally, my background is sort of outdoor pursuits, through sort of working on a centre. Massive fan of carabiners. Just make life so much simpler. But I'm starting to be converted to this idea of a soft shackle. So a connector made out of cord that replaces a carabiner. What that comprises of is a length of cord with a loop on one end and a fat locking knot on the other. So this is a monkey's fist knot. This large loop we're going to turn into a lark's foot or a lark's head. The monkey's fist goes through there. That lark's head cinches up on the cord, creating an extremely strong, well, as strong as the cord is, connection. So great for attaching your tarp onto a guy line, potentially even your hammock onto your tree huggers. So this is made with a monkey's fist knot, which is a bit of a fiddly knot. But we'll have a look at how we can tie that. We're going to use two fingers, pinch the end of the cord between those two fingers, wrap one twice round. Then, we'll try and make a bit of space. I'm going to go in between the fingers, 1 and 2. Now you can do 3 and 3. It just takes more cord. So there we go. So we've done twice over, twice round, and now if I slide my fingers out, that leaves us two little gaps. You can make it there, so one above, one below. I'm going to take the cord and I'm going to thread that through. So in the top, out the bottom. I'm going to do it 2 times in the top and out the bottom. Now, what's quite important is the starting end. You just trap that in the middle. And now it's a case of working backwards, because that looks absolutely nothing like, where do we put it? That. What I need to do is now tension up all those ends. And it's a fiddly process, but if I can kind of do it as quickly and as roughly as I can. Just so you can get the idea. I'm just tracing each end back on itself. Push it through. So even if you're quite, familiar with cordage and knot tying, this is fiddly. But you will end up with a snug, fat, tight lump at the end of the line that you can cinch a lark's foot around. Hopefully, there we go. Oh, you can get the idea there. Now, this will take a little bit further tightening until it ends up being that little ball at the end. And if you're making a kit up for yourselves, it's worth spending the time. But on the fly, in the dark, you don't want to be faffing around with a little fist like that. So what can we do in a bit of cordage to make our life a lot simpler? We can go to our friend, probably the most basic, simplistic of knots, the overhand knot, thumb knot. So what we know as, a simple thumb knot. But we're going to do it in 2 strands, so doubled over, because that's going to create us an overhand loop. So we've got a little loop on the end of it. Now what I'm going to try and do is cinch that loop up so it's as small as possible, but just big enough, because what I'm going to want to do is pass this rope, or this bit of cord, this bit of paracord rather, back through that loop Pass that through it, and as that comes back on itself, it's just going to ball up, creating something that doesn't look a million miles away from that monkey's fist, but took us a fraction of the time to tie, and probably could do with your eyes closed if you're familiar with that knot. And on the other end, we're going to tie the same thing, but with a much bigger loop, because that is going to be our connector loop. And all of a sudden, we have a super simplistic soft shackle that we could deploy to attach our tarp, to attach onto our ridgeline, to even attach onto our hammock, and it's taken a fraction of the time to tie. It's super easy to undo once it's been tensioned. A little bit of paracord, overhand knot, big loop, doubled over into your lark's head or lark's foot knot. I have to admit that just the loop itself, if you think of your traditional sort of duffel coat loop and toggle system, once under tension, that loop is going to cinch up anyway. That's pretty good. And as long as you place it at the right point on your setup, that's going to cinch up each time. So I think that's probably sufficient. Forget about the lark's foot, just a single loop, fat end, poke through. There we go. So a little bit of chord play in the garage on a Sunday. Hope you guys are enjoying your autumn and looking forward to getting out as much as you can over the colder months. It'd be great to see if this is useful, if this is a system you use, any sort of feedback. Like I say, I'm just playing with it at the minute, so yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Nice one. Take care.